I want you to think about the last time you walked into a room and completely forgot why you went in there. You stood in the doorway. You looked around. Nothing. Maybe you laughed it off. Maybe you blamed it on being tired or busy. But here's what I need you to hear. That moment, that little blank, it wasn't random. It wasn't just stress. Something was happening inside your brain that you couldn't see, and it's been happening for years. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, where it lives, and this is the part most doctors don't talk about, how you can physically reverse it. Not slow it down, reverse it. Stay with me. Deep inside your brain, tucked beneath the cerebral cortex, there's a curved little structure about the size of your thumb. It's called the hippocampus. And it has one job that matters more than almost anything else in your daily life. It takes what's happening right now, the name someone just told you, the place you just parked, the thing you walked into the kitchen to get, and it stamps it into your memory. Without it working properly, nothing sticks. You meet someone, shake their hand, hear their name, and 30 seconds later, it's gone. Not because you weren't paying attention, because the structure that was supposed to hold it is struggling. Here's the part that nobody warns you about. Starting in your mid-30s, the hippocampus begins to shrink, just slightly at first. You don't notice, life goes on normally. But by the time most people reach their 60s and 70s, the volume loss becomes meaningful. Studies published in leading neuroscience journals show that the hippocampus can lose roughly 1 to 2% of its volume every year in people who aren't actively protecting it. 1 to 2% every year. That's not a small number. Over a decade, that's a completely different brain. And the worst part, the hippocampus is one of the first regions hit by Alzheimer's disease, long before any formal diagnosis, long before the family starts to worry. The hippocampus is already quietly losing ground. So when you walk into that room and forget why you're there, that's not aging being normal. That's a warning sign that deserves attention. Now here's where the story turns, because for the most of the 20th century, neuroscientists believed something that turned out to be completely wrong. They believed that you were born with all the brain cells you'd ever have, that once neurons died, they were gone forever. The brain was fixed, finished, done growing. That idea has been overturned. In a landmark discovery, researchers found the human hippocampus is one of the only regions of the adult brain where brand new neurons are actually born. New cells, at any age, into your 70s, your 80s, and beyond. The process is called neurogenesis, and it means that the hippocampus is not a finished structure. It is a living, responsive, changeable organ, one that grows or shrinks based on what you do with your life. So the question becomes, what triggers it? What actually tells the hippocampus to grow new cells? The answer surprised researchers, and it's going to surprise you. It's not crossword puzzles. It's not Sudoku. It's not reading more books or doing more math. It's learning new movements, physical coordination, motor skills, the act of teaching your body to do something it has never done before. When you learn a genuinely new movement, something that requires your brain to build entirely new motor maps, the hippocampus responds. Blood flow increases. A protein called BDNF, brain-derived trophic factor, floods the area. Scientists call BDNF fertilizer for the brain, and that fertilizer directly stimulates the growth of new hippocampal neurons. The more unfamiliar the movement, the stronger the response. Let me give you a specific example, because this isn't abstract theory. This is documented in brain scans. Researchers at the University of Regensburg in Germany took a group of healthy adults, average age in their 20s, but the principle has since been replicated with older adults as well, and taught them to juggle 3 balls for 3 months. They scanned the participants' brains before and after. The results were stunning. In just 3 months of learning to juggle, the gray matter in the hippocampus had measurably increased. The brain had grown. Not metaphorically, not in terms of performance test scores, physically, measurably, on a brain scan. And when the participants stopped juggling for 3 months, the growth partially reversed. The brain had responded to the challenge and then responded to the absence of challenge. This tells us something profound. The hippocampus is not a fixed structure you're stuck with. It is a structure that is continuously being shaped by what you do or by what you refuse to do. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most of us, and I include myself in this, spend our days doing things we already know how to do. We make the same breakfast, we walk the same route, we watch the same programs, we play the same card games we've played for 30 years. All of that feels comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with comfort. But to the hippocampus, routine is silence. The brain doesn't need to build anything new, so it doesn't. And gradually, without any challenge pushing back against the natural shrinkage, the losses compound. The key word in all the research is novelty. The movement has to be new, not just more of the same. Your brain already knows how to walk. It already knows how to fold laundry. It already knows how to stir a pot. What it doesn't know, what would force it to build new circuitry, is something genuinely unfamiliar. A movement that requires attention, that causes small failures, that makes you feel slightly awkward. That awkwardness is not a sign you're too old. That is your hippocampus waking up. So what does this actually look like in your life? You don't need to become a circus performer. Juggling 3 balls is one option, but it's not the only one. The research points to any movement that combines coordination, sequencing, and learning, something your hands and feet have never done before, that requires your eyes and your brain to work together in a new way. Consider learning basic juggling with 2 scarves. Silk scarves fall slowly and give your brain enough time to track the movement. Most people can learn a simple 2-scarf pattern in a week. That week is worth more to your hippocampus than months of familiar routine. Consider simple contact ball rolling, moving a single ball across the backs of your fingers, passing it from hand to hand in a rolling figure-8 pattern. It looks effortless when you've mastered it. The first 3 days, your brain will fight you. Those 3 days are exactly what you need. Consider learning a new folk dance, or Tai Chi, or a simple sequence of hand percussion rhythms, or walking a balance beam made from a strip of tape on the floor while tossing a ball from hand to hand. The formula is always the same. New movement, coordination required, genuine unfamiliarity, repeated over days and weeks. 20 minutes a day. That's what multiple studies point to as the threshold where measurable hippocampal benefits begin to appear. 20 minutes. I want to expand this for a moment, because the hippocampus doesn't work in isolation. When you stimulate neurogenesis through movement, you're not just improving short-term memory. The new neurons in the hippocampus integrate into existing circuits. They improve the brain's ability to distinguish between similar memories, the kind of fine-grained recall that lets you remember which parking lot, which appointment, which face. They reduce anxiety. The hippocampus plays a central role in regulating stress hormones. A healthier, more active hippocampus is literally a calmer brain. They support spatial navigation, your sense of where you are in the world, which declines with age and contributes to the disorientation that many older adults experience. And they protect against the accumulation of the plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Not perfectly, not as a guaranteed shield, but meaningfully, measurably. Growing your hippocampus through movement is not a cure. It is a powerful, documented biological act of resistance against a process that most people accept as inevitable. It is not inevitable. When you walked into that room and forgot why you were there, I told you that was a warning sign. But here's what I want you to leave with today. A warning sign is not a sentence. It is information. It is your brain telling you something has shifted. And more importantly, it is your brain telling you that it still responds, that it's still listening, that it is still capable of change. The same brain that forgot what you walked in for is the same brain that grew gray matter in response to 3 months of juggling. The same brain, the same tissue, the same hippocampus. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how long the forgetting has been happening. What matters is what you decide to do tonight, tomorrow morning, next week. Pick up 2 scarves, roll a ball across your knuckles, learn the first 8 steps of a dance you've never tried. Be awkward about it. Be frustrated. Be slow. That discomfort is the sound of your hippocampus growing. If this changed the way you think about memory and aging, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this information. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Every episode on this channel goes this deep, specific, honest, built on real science, translated into something you can actually use. Drop a comment below. What's one new movement or skill you've tried recently or always wanted to learn? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next episode.